Right.
So, good evening to you all. And I, on the behalf of Sarkari School, welcome you to another policy Manthan, which is both for this batch of interns for the month of August and the second for this month, which is just after the Teachers' Day seminar we had on 5th September. So, a very hearty welcome to you all, and I hope that we will be moving ahead with gusto in this session as well. So before we begin the session and I direct the participants to share their views, I will be reading out the code theme as well as the code of conduct we will be following in this session. So this week's hourly policy manthan session will be held on the code theme and educationist struggles, how to overcome key challenges in making education holistic. Now, after an interesting session with some changemaker visionaries on September 5, 2023, at Sarkari School itself, we have learned about the passion teachers have especially put into making learning environments more enjoyable, more participative, and for the students, and have encouraged them to pick up several new activities and have encouraged their participants in a lot of sporting events at national and state levels too, as we had observed in the conversation with some of our teachers. Now, however, these teachers have had their fair share of challenges in establishing this infrastructure and these facilities in remote and far off areas. And they are also hopeful of some assistance that will help the students achieve key educational goals and grow as well rounded personalities. Now, the various sub themes we are covering under it are suggestions on teacher training and education, how to resolve problem of lacking funds for schools in remote areas, collaborating with resident communities, problems of lacking infrastructure and the way forward, how to reconcile personal and professional challenges for teachers, are punishment postings for teachers in remote areas effective, involving students as stakeholders in their own education, teacher student rapport, nurturing a constructive connection, and reconstructing punishment techniques, how to correct instead of humiliating in a public environment. Now, I think the rules of the policy manthan must also be very clear to the participants. And if someone is new to this meeting and has attended this meeting for the first time, let me go through it real quick. You are initially going to raise your hand or notify me via the chat if you want to speak, and I will direct you to unmute your mic and speak and share your views. Secondly, no one is going to speak over an active speaker. We do not entertain disruptions because we would like this environment to be very democratic, and we will like our speakers to speak as much, to listen as much as they want to speak. And it's also going to tell you a lot about patient and careful listening and how much we cherish all the suggestions from uh, our our quota of participants. And second and thirdly, it's very obvious we are not going to entertain any expletives, because if we find just you flouting any rules or something, we will be expelling you from the session outright. And with this hope that the rules will be understood and will be maintained by the participants, I would like to move forward with the session. So first of all, I would like the interested speakers to notify me via show of hands or okay, fine. So Kashish is going to go first, then we will have Akansha. If anyone else wants to speak after Akansha, they can notify me later. But for meanwhile, we are going to welcome Kashish. And Kashish, you are requested to switch on your camera for maximum participation. Yeah, thank you so much. And you can switch on your mic and speak. We are very eager to hear you.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Kashish Gupta, and today I'm going to present my views on involving students as a stakeholder in their own education. It is a crucial aspect of creating student-centered and empowering learning environment. When students have say in their education, it can lead to increased engagement, motivation, and better learning outcomes. Here are some strategies and approaches to involve students as stakeholders in their education. Student voice and choice. Allow students to have say in what they learn and how they learn it. Give them choice in selecting topics, projects, or assignments within the curriculum. Encourage students to express their opinions, preferences regarding classroom activities and teaching methods. Individualized learning plans. collaboratively developed individualized learning plans with each student. These plans are address their unique learning needs, goals, and interests. Student-led conferences conduct regular conferences where students lead discussions about their progress, goals, and areas they want to improve. This involves students in goal settings and self-assessment. Feedback mechanism create channels for students to provide feedback on the curriculum, teaching methods, and classroom environment, act upon their feedbacks to demonstrate what their opinion matters, establish leadership opportunities for students within the school community, such as a student council or a club, allowing them to influence school policies and decisions. Co-creation of curriculum involves students in the process of designing parts of the curriculum. This could include choosing reading material, suggesting projects, or even designing lessons and plans. Peer teaching and collaboration encourage peer teaching and collaborative learning. When students teach their peers, they become more engaged and gain a deeper understanding of the material. Student leadership roles establish leadership opportunities for students within the school community, such as a student council or a club, allowing them to influence school policies and decision. Open communication, maintain open lines of communication with students, encourage them to approach teachers, administrators with questions, concerns, and suggestions. Then goal setting and reflection, teach students the importance of setting and revisiting their learning goals, encourage them to reflect on their progress and make adjustments as needed. Teacher student partnership, build a collaborative partnership between teachers and students where both parties work together to enhance the learning experience. Professional development for teachers, provide training and resources for teachers to effectively involve students as stakeholders in their education. Teachers plays a very crucial role in facilitating students involvement. Then parents involvement, engage parents in the process of involving students as stakeholders. Parent teacher student partnership can be powerful force for improving education. At last, I would like to conclude with involving students as stakeholder in their education, empower them to take ownership of their learning journeys, foster a sense of responsibility, and ultimately leads to more meaningful and effective learning experience. It is essential to create a supportive and inclusive environment where students' voice are valued and respected. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kashish, for your enlightening views. And I definitely agree with your clause of student participation in events like student parliaments, because as you must have also observed in the session we had on Teachers' Day, that a few of the teachers had encouraged the formation of a Bal Mandal, of a Bal Parliament in in their respective schools. And I think some of them also mentioned how a few students and the leaders of the Bal Mandal or the Child Parliament, they took up seats legitimately as stakeholders with other officially political leaders like MLAs and MPs. And I think this is definitely going to be a path breaking innovation in the way we administer teaching and in the way we govern school policies, because it also involves students to speak up. Now, next speaker is going to be Akansha, then we will have Anshita, and after Anshita, we will have Anamika. So, Akansha, you may unmute and speak.
Warm greetings to every team member and fellow interns here. Today, I want to emphasize on a very crucial topic, that is fostering teacher-student relationship. So in India, where heritage and tradition cherishes the role of teacher as a thread weaving the students' comprehensive growth and learning. So teachers are the architects of the students' dream. So there is a strong teacher-student relationship which goes beyond the boundaries of classroom, syllabus, and textbooks. So though this relationship is immensely valuable, but today now it faces many challenges of like communication barriers, cultural and generational gaps, and the lack of training, especially in classroom management, and especially the high exam pressure and the pressure on getting the good results are creating a strain in the teacher and student relationships now. So I think recognizing these challenges requires the cultural training and the proper training to be given to the teachers to tackle the mental behavior and mental health of the students also. So which requires the proactive efforts on the effective communication, cultural sensitivity, and giving the support empathy, and most crucial, that to establish a very supportive and very supportive environment for the student, which will ultimately help them to develop fully and for their holistic development. So that's it from my side, and thank you.
Thank you so much, Akansha, for the enlightening views. And you are really, very right in putting these suggestions forward. And I think what stood out to me from your speech for today was the identification, the right identification of the problem, which is creating a certain strain on the teachers. And the problem is a pressure to excel and deliver schools, which makes schools more of a client delivery system instead of an educational apparatus. So I would definitely like the participants to engage with this problem later and maybe provide a few solutions you might have in your mind. Just brainstorm a little. Until then, we will have Anshita speaking in front of us. And Anshita, I would like you to unmute and share your views. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, Anshita, you are audible. You may share your views.
Hello and good evening to everyone. So before starting my topic, I want to address some points regarding our today's theme and educationist struggles, how to overcome key challenges in making education holistic. The major thing which I can see is as a key challenges is lack of professional development opportunities. In some cases, educationists do need continuous professional development to stay updated with the latest educational practices and techniques that are used nowadays. Like as an example, we have seen in COVID period, many teachers were struggling to use Google Classroom and Google Meets and many other platforms for education. So to overcome this challenge, it requires educationists to actively seek out professional development opportunities and participates in workshops and conferences, and also engage in peer-to-peer learning through collaboration with other educators. Now coming to my topic for today is punishment for posting teacher in remote areas is effective. Punishment posting for teachers in remote areas can be effective in certain situations, but not always. By assigning teachers to remote areas, it can help in addressing the issue of teacher shortage and ensure that in these regions, students have access to education. It can also serve as a deterrent to teachers who may be reluctant to accept position in remote areas due to challenges and isolation they may face. Also, I would say it will incentivize teachers to fulfill their responsibilities and perform their duties effectively, as they may fear being transferred to even more remote or undesirable location if they do not meet expectations. Additionally, punishment posting can also provide an opportunity for personal growth and development for teachers who are willing to embrace the challenges of working in remote areas. By sending teachers to remote areas can increase an access to education for students who would otherwise have limited or no access to quality schooling or education. Teaching in remote areas can also provide educators with valuable experience and exposure to diverse teaching environment. The effectiveness of punishing teachers by posting them in remote areas means improving education, varies depend on several factors. While it may have some potential benefits, which I have discussed just now, but I also come to it also come with a significant drawbacks. Like forced posting to remote areas can lead to low teacher morale and burnout, which can negatively impact on quality of education provided. The quality of education in remote area may suffer if teachers are unwilling or unprepared to work in these settings. And the threat of being posted in remote areas as a punishment may discourage other individuals from entering the teaching profession who are pursuing teacher as a career. In last, I would say punishing teacher by posting them in remote areas can be a complex and controversial approach. While it may address some immediate staffing challenges and increase access to education, also it can lead to a negative consequence also. It's essential to consider the specific context when evaluating the effectiveness of this approach. Policymakers and the principals of the school should carefully weigh the pros and cons, consider more comprehensive strategies for improving education in remote areas. However, it is important to consider punishment posting should not be a sole solution for improving education quality in these regions. Adequate support system, incentives, resources should also be provided that ensure teachers are able to deliver high quality education. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anshita. And I think you treated this very controversial topic in a very nuanced manner. And I think you brought some really good insights to the table, such as punishment postings are not going to be the only solution. And I think there's a dilemma which concerns punishment postings today, that is it a punishment, and for whom? Is it a punishment for the teachers themselves, or is it a punishment for students in those areas? And they are kind of, designated teachers as, these are the teachers you're going to get in these remote areas, just because maybe the teachers had done wrong, or to overcome staffing challenges, as you said. So I think this dilemma remains, and this needs to be treated urgently by policy experts and educationists alike, because I feel that the subject of punishment postings is going to be a punishment for the whole area if the educator isn't involved. And also, when all the educators are not coming together to address these challenges head on. Plus, I do understand that there are some personal challenges educators have to overcome, because punishment postings are not easy to deal with, especially if they are in areas which are not very good with regards to security or accessibility. They are definitely going to provide some roadblocks for them to realize their own goals too. So I think punishment postings should be treated with some nuance, which you did very brilliantly. And now we are going to have Anamika. After that, we are going to have Jess Maria to share their views and amplify their views on this stage through this forum. So yeah, Anamika, you can switch off your mic and speak. We are very eager to listen to you.
Hi everyone, am I audible?
Yes, you are audible, Anamika. You may speak.
So I'm going to speak about why it is important to have a good tutor-learner bond. So all of us always talk about how important it is to have excellent teachers with talent, and how important it is to bring more students into the schools and make education available to all. But then here, the most important element that we need to consider is that even when you're in school, it is surprising that few people actually do not have a bond or do not connect with their teachers or professors. But in my opinion, what we should understand is that a good teacher student bond or a good tutor learner bond is essential, because I'm a person who would study a subject no matter how difficult it is if I like the teacher. That was me in 12th grade with my accountancy subject. My teacher was such a gem of a person that I had no choice but to make her proud at the end of the day. And what happens is that when you don't like the teacher, you eventually begin hating the subject. And the impact of a good tutor learner bond lasts so long. Like, there is a long term impact on both the tutors and the students' life. The tutor will have the realization that not all the students are just there to learn and leave. Somebody will have some sort of association, or there'll be somebody who look up to them or look back at them in the future. But even for the student, it will be like a great investment in their own lives. The supportive mentorship system that will be created in such a manner will actually enhance the quality of education that we are providing. And in Indian case, because we have all these strict norms of by hearting and writing exams, and giving all that concentration on marks that you get in the examination, often students tend to distance themselves from being attached to the teachers or whoever is teaching them. So as our core theme for this week is an educationist struggles, how to overcome key challenges in making education holistic. I think this is one aspect aspect which actually contributes into holistic development. Beyond academics, a good tutor-learner bond can contribute to the overall development of the learners, including their character, values, and life skills. And that is something that Indian education system needs to integrate within itself in order to mold better citizens for the country. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anamika. And I think from what you shared, I think that was some of your really precious personal experiences. I was reminded of the sequence from this film, Do Duni Char. It was released in 2010, starred Rishi Kapoor as a teacher. And I think it's at the tail end of the sequence of the whole film. I think it's at the moment of the climax that this teacher meets his own student who has grown up and he has a family of his own settled in the US, and he has come back to his domestic country, and then he suddenly sees the teacher. There's a smile gracing his face, and suddenly he introduces his little daughter of, I think, 6 or 4 years to the teacher and saying, this is the teacher who actually encouraged me to be a good boy. He's the one who told me how to learn tables. So I think that is an impact that a teacher is going to carry for all your lives. And yes, it pertains it definitely pertains to the core theme very well. Because if we see the fact, this is something that we also face in higher academia. Because my years in Delhi University personally were defined by a teacher-student rapport. And I shared a brilliant rapport with all my teachers who were in true sense a friend, philosopher, and guide. So I think that it's a very valid reason to uphold the same spirit in lower academia, in primary, secondary, and senior secondary education, so that students are able to gain a very formative influence in their life, and they are able to move ahead with the same zeal that the teacher displays, not only in the subject, but in upholding the principles of life. So thank you so much, Anamika, for sharing your views with us. And now we have Jasmaria. After that, Shivam, Nishtha, either of you can take the mic and speak. Just notify me in advance. So Jasmaria, you may unmute and speak.
Hi all, I'm going to talk about the topic on the restructuring of punishment techniques. First of all, I'm agreeing with what Anamika has said. Like I hated maths when I'm in 5th standard, and like the teacher was always punishing the students in front of other students by saying a particular in that age we want to don't hear that words like you can't have enough courage, like you can't have enough ability to learn maths, or you don't have any uh, you can't do maths in your entire life. If you can't do maths, you don't have common sense. Like teachers are telling these words to the students. Like I wanted to tell that when I changed the school, I started learning maths. I'm solving the problems like easily. But when I was in the old school, I can't do maths and I hated maths. So the reason is that punishments are occurring. They are making the students low esteemed, and they are feared, and they are lonely, because when teachers are like punishing them, the entire class is laughing at them, or they are not they are not.
I think that there is a certain glitch because of which Jess Maria was interrupted. So I think she's joining back, and let's wait.
Hello,
Yeah, Jess Maria.
sorry, I have some poor connections.
It's okay, we understand. You may continue. If it's possible for you, then switch on the camera. Otherwise, it's completely fine.
Okay, hello, I'm audible now.
Yeah, Jess Maria, you're audible, except for a few glitches again, but it's okay. You may continue.
Okay, so I was telling about some of the things that are happening when students are facing these kinds of punishment, especially the physical punishments. The students are facing low esteem. Students develop a mindset to avoid difficulties without even trying to accomplish them, and they give up easily. And they become adamant by hiding their feelings of frustration and incompetence. Hello.
Yes, Maria. You can continue. You can continue.
Okay. Yeah. The second point is fear. The physical punishment can make students fearful, and the rule of fear excludes student life viewed as a single punishment. Out of fear, they try to study well, but not for the sake of learning. The next one is loneliness. When students are punished, they are facing loneliness in the classroom when the other students are not accommodating them, or like they are feeling uncomfortable and embarrassed. Next one is guilt. Using guilt to help stop all behaviors and learn new ones can make you feel lonely and responsible for not having schools. And the other things such as depression. Hello.
Yes, Jess Maria, it's okay. There are some disruptions in the connection, but yeah, we are listening to you and you may share your views again. You may resume.
Okay. Like depression and suicidal thoughts. The students face depression and suicidal thoughts when the teachers are giving them physical or punishments. Depression can give rise to suicidal thoughts. The rest is conceivable. The last thought that comes to students' mind is to commit suicide, and it starts with physical punishment in the name of discipline. What are the alternative ways to eradicate or eliminate the physical punishment for students? First one is take a time out. The time out, originally designed to help students work on their emotions in a physically safe space, but today is often used as a tool for controlling. The next one is connect with them. This action may require attention, even if they deny it. Sometimes you just need to hug or try to connect with your student, and provide them choices will help them to give opportunity to speak up about the problems they are facing, and giving them a time out before responding. Behavior of students evoke emotions and reactions in us that have absolutely nothing to do with them. We are teachers, which means we have a lifetime of triggers and schedule that causes fatigue. Take a deep breath, and if we need a little space before we can calmly react, we can avoid choosing an answer that we are likely to regret. The next one is use parental controls. Asking parents to talk to their children about the problems they are facing, and solving that problems will help students to come out of the difficult situations, and give them time along with an expectation. And just as if take us a minute, or respond to a request, we can expect the same from students. If students refuses to do something, you can set aside some time with their request. You can say, dear, let me know when you ready to share your emotions. And using the happy phrases with students, like calling them dear, like calling them some other friendly names, accepting their mistakes can also make a good relationship with teacher student. And the next one is accept your students' choice. If we wish our student to make right decisions, we do our best to encourage correct decisions to point where they could be classified. The next one is observe. Observe the student calmly and make them relax and show them what are the negative things they have in their behaviors, and rewarding them for their good behavior. By rewarding them with good behavior, they can also identify they not only have bad behaviors in them, but they also have good behavior. So they will get the esteem to, or the dignity to face all the class or all the teachers in every subject in the school. They can become a good student as well. Yeah, these are the techniques that we can use for the. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Jess Maria. Although there were several disruptions, I would appreciate you and applaud you for the fact that you kept going, because even these disruptions can cause a speaker to falter. And I think it's commendable that you kept going, and the momentum and the grace you maintained while handling these disruptions on your part. These were excellent. And yeah, I do agree with you that, some corrective behavior is not only prompted through, the techniques of using the rod, but I think it also lies in the way the teacher communicates with the students and addresses and encourages that they have the potential to become better at things. Because there's an incident in my own life, and yes, it also concerns maths, that I think I must have been in class ninth, where this teacher who was teaching in the senior wings, she was teaching mathematics in the senior wing. She came to us for a pre-arrangement period. She was allotted that. And she knew about me from the various functions I participated in. She called me up and she asked me, Alankrita, who in your class is the best in maths? So she just looked at me very quizzically, as if expecting that the answer I would give would be, ma'am, I am the best in maths. But unfortunately, I was not a very good student in maths. I mean, even when I was overall a class topper, I was kind of like at the fourth, fifth rank in my class when it came to maths. So I confessed it to her very honestly. And I think later when I took up maths in class 11 as a part of my stream, she was the one who came to me and says, Alankrita, I think I remember you and I really appreciate your honesty, because almost all the class toppers are under such duress or under such pressure that they are always projecting themselves as the best. And that has been drilled into their head by the academic system. And we aren't very honest about our own shortcomings. So she appreciated me for that, and she promised me that she will provide me with that extra push, that extra impetus I need to build up the confidence that, I can do maths too. And I think at the end of it, the process was really, really rewarding. And I ended up getting the highest marks on the board in my school. So that was something, I still remember the teacher, the Lakshmi ma'am, if ever she watches this session, if she ever sees this, I think I'm especially thankful to her for building a very positive notion in my mind through that kind of personal rapport, that I can do things too. So yeah, Jess Maria, I definitely agree with you on several points you put up. And thank you so much for sharing these. I think she's not in the session because, again, the disruptions must have come in the way, but it's completely okay. The point which matters is that she shared our views with us and with such grace that I cannot even summarize. So, yeah, Nishtha is the, I think, speaker after Jess Maria. And I think after that, Shivam, you can take up the forum. So yeah, Nishta, please go ahead. Switch on your mic as well as your camera if you can, and you can share.
I am at my hometown, so there is no good network. If I switch on my camera, then my voice might be freaking.
It's okay. It's okay. No problem.
Let
No
me.
problem.
Yeah, thank you. So today's top. So today I am going to speak on problem of lacking infrastructure and way forward in government school. So the problem of lacking infrastructure in government school is a significant issue in many countries, particularly in developing nations. This lack of infrastructure can hinder the quality of education and the overall learning environment for students. Here are some common problems and potential ways forward to address them. So, many government schools have overcrowded classrooms, which can make it difficult for teachers to effectively manage and teach a large number of students. Inadequate toilet facilities and clean drinking water can lead to health problems among students and staffs. A shortage of textbooks, educational technology, and other teaching aids can impede the learning process. The school buildings with issues like leaky roofs, broken windows, and unsafe structures can endanger the safety and health of students and staff. Teachers may not have access to ongoing professional development and training opportunities, which also can impact their ability to deliver quality education. So there are some ways like government should allocate more resources to education with a focus on infrastructure development. Like this includes new classrooms, repairing existing ones, and providing essential amenities like toilet and clean water. Government can also collaborate with private organizations and NGOs to improve school infrastructure. Private sector involvement can bring in additional resources and expertise. Engage local communities in the improvement of school infrastructure. This can include mobilizing parents, community members, and local business to contribute resources and labor. Incorporate technology to overcome resource shortages. This can involve like providing tablets or computer to students, which can serve as digital learning aids when textbooks are scarce. So investment in teacher training programs to enhance the quality of education. Implement regular maintenance plans for school buildings to ensure they remain safe and functional. Hold government officials accountable for allocation and utilization of education funds. Basically, education funds are very important and government should know the transparency and monitoring mechanism. Now, conduct regular infrastructure audits to identify shortcomings and prioritize areas in need of improvement. Explore innovative, cost-effective solutions such as sustainable and eco-friendly school buildings to maximize the use of available resources. And the last, raise awareness among the public about the importance of education and the need for adequate infrastructure. Like there are many government schemes for infrastructure. So there are some examples like Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. This scheme aims to provide all-weather road connectivity to rural areas. It basically focuses on improving rural infrastructure by building and upgrading roads. There is another nation clean water and sanitation programs. So I want to conclude that improving infrastructure in government school is a complex task that requires cooperation among various stakeholders, including government body, communities, and NGOs. However, investing in education infrastructure is crucial for providing quality education and improving the future prospects of students, ultimately contributing to societal development and progress. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nishtha. And you very rightly understood the need for an improved infrastructure, and you rightly pointed it out that deficient infrastructure or faulty infrastructure, such as the lack of sanitation facilities, leaky roofs, or broken windows, that can pose as noted security threats to the students and the teachers as well. So I think what we need is a redressal of all these problems, maybe more funding and I think there needs to be a change in perception too, because a lot of people still believe that schools are basically meant to, administer just educational needs and not fulfill the infrastructural needs which are required by the students and the teachers. And also, we have to note the fact, in keeping with the core theme, that teachers actually spend out of their pocket instead of getting regular assistance from the government departments or the concerned departments to improve their own infrastructure. And some classrooms don't even have blackboards even today. So this is, I think, a fundamental problem of the public education sector, which we need to address head on. And I think, as very rightly put by Nishtha, it definitely shapes the way we are going to administer the public policy and public education sector, because I think the provision of infrastructure is also going to create this perception whether to send a child into school or not. So definitely, thank you so much, Nishtha, for sharing your views. And I think at the very last, we have Shivam. So Shivam, you may switch on your camera and your mic, and you may speak on your preferred theme. Shivam, I hope that you are listening to me and you are there. If you are unable to answer via a live representation, you may revert via text. I think there's a chat facility available. So we are just waiting for you to share your views. Till then, meanwhile, when Shivam fixes, the issue or goes live, I think till then we can definitely prompt a discussion from the other participants as to what did they gain from other speeches, and which insights stood out to them the most. I would like to know. And if you have any questions from any speakers right now, you can engage in a round of questioning and counter question. So, who wants to begin?
Hello, Alankrita. I found this policy Manthan issue very insightful today. I think my side on which I talked upon, that is fostering the teacher-student relationship. So I think Anamika also took this part, and she also said some views on the student, especially tutor-learner bond, that it should be about long-term impact. So I think these are the things especially we need. I think infrastructure is and technology integration and the classroom management teacher training are though necessary, but I think for me which stood and comes first is I think the relationship between the teacher and student, because I think this is the main institutions we are targeting towards. I think if it is strong, then the other things associated with definitely going to have impact. So I think it was every views that the fellow interns today have shared. I think they had their great views on the topic today.
So after Akansha, thank you so much. Actually, I agree with you on a lot of things you said. That teacher-student rapport seems to be the defining feature of all these struggles faced by the educationists as well as the students who are the subject of the education itself. So yeah, definitely. And I do agree with Anamika's views too. Actually, she has exited the meeting due to some prior commitments and everything. So that's completely all right. But it was very good to see that all of you were listening very carefully to your host speakers, and the policy Manthan was able to ingrain the spirit of listening as well as speaking. So after Kansha, if anyone else wants to address, which points do you think that your host speakers addressed like really well? And what do you think is the defining feature of the whole theme we are addressing today? You can definitely share our views with us. So after Kansha, if anyone would like to speak, Anshita, Kashish, Nishtha, we are waiting for Shivam still. Kashish, what were your takeaways about this session today? I hope she's listening to me. Or if Anshita, you are able to answer, or if you want to address something, you can definitely do that.
I would say the session was very insightful, and Nishta mentioned Pradhan Mantri Sadak Yojana. So these yojnas or these policies are very important in educational sector also, because in rural areas roads are not good, and infrastructure is not good. Schools do not have proper sanitary areas or washrooms or toilets. So I would say Nishtha said very well this point.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anshita. And connectivity is definitely going to be another definitive issue, which is impacting the public education sector right now, because a lot of schools, um, they are still located in very remote, far off areas, or remote areas don't have schools itself, and the students from those areas have to visit and cover a large distance in order to gain basic education facilities. And I think this also creates a sort of chasm that parents might be very unwilling to send their children to cover that far off distance for 2.5 hours, when there are more pressing problems for them with regards to employment, with regards to wage generation. Because as we know, that a basic motivation of poor households or socially or economically backward households is the feasibility these facilities have and how affordable they can be. So I would definitely suggest, along with roads, we should develop a very comprehensive network of public transport too, like buses or roadway services, so that students are not expected to spend a fortune on trains or more expensive modes of transport. So yeah, definitely. And Anshita, if you want to speak something else, you can do that too.
In addition to that, for these policies, fund allocation is the major problem that education sector faces. So we
Okay, there seems to be another glitch, but we can wait for 2 minutes for her to resume and join in. Yeah, Kashish, after Anshita finishes, you can speak, because as of right now, she is interrupted by a glitch. So yeah. It's completely all right, because I would like to take up this point Anshita has presented, that funding is going to be a major issue. A lot of schools, a lot of educational institutes, especially with regards to primary education in India, are still facing a galling problem of the unavailability of funds. So it's completely all right. I think Anshita has left. She'll join again. And meanwhile, Kashish, you can switch on your mic and speak.
Hi, Alankrita. For me, I really like how Jess Maria pointed out the punishment humiliation a child face due to the inappropriate methods of punishment, and the thinkings of her, like how to frame, how to restructure the punishments so that it does not create any negative impact on a child's mind.
Yeah, that's very true, Kashish, because I feel that a young mind, when they are subjected to the kind of public humiliation, hard punishment or rod-based punishment is presenting. So I think that that also creates a definitive impression of their potential as as a student, because as Jess Maria rightly pointed out, caning or hard punishment techniques can discourage the students from pursuing education entirely, apart from pushing them into a well of depression and self-doubt. So it's very important that we develop some peer correction mechanisms too, where students kind of are encouraged to collaborate with each other to address correction policies and to address their peers' own problems. So peer-to-peer networks are definitely the most important and the need of the hour in educational systems. So yeah, I think Anshita has joined us back, and Anshita, you may complete what you were saying. Okay. So Anshita has posted a comment. She has notified that she was disconnected, and she was saying that the policy she suggested with respect to funding and allocation and connectivity, they need a good fund allocation so that it should be taken into action. But I would like to add that mere funds are not going to cut it if the implementation is not clear. If the implementation is not clear with respect to what actually the school needs. So I think that since we already have a skill mapping mechanism in our midst in practice, so I think there should be a resource mapping mechanism too, so that we identify the needs of each individual school and classroom. So yeah, it's okay. It's completely fine, Anshita. It's all right. So Nishtha, I would come to you. There's a closing statement you would like to give with respect to what you like the most about the session and which insights stood out to you the most. If Nishtha can join us, it's completely all right if you cannot. And Shivam, I believe that we were not able to listen to you very well in this session due to some problems, but it's completely all right. You can share your views in the next session, maybe when the connection clears out a little. So it's completely okay. And as for the other speakers, kudos to all of you for making this session a huge roaring success, because I feel that success shouldn't be just judged with the attendance of numbers. But I think there were a lot of qualitative suggestions made, a lot of pertinent problems that were addressed, which were otherwise not taken up before by such summits. Yeah. So I think that we will come back with another theme, and I will be very eager to listen to you. Share your views on another set of issues and engage with each other, engage with yourselves as scholars, as intellectual inquirers, and as the interns. And I think that you'll take this experience further than this internship. So, with these words, I would like to end the Sarkari School Policy Manthan for today. And I think we'll be meeting right here next Saturday at 7 p.m. with a fresh round of topics with new speakers, most probably. And I think that we'll have more numbers. So I think so. It's also about bracing yourselves to listen to some of the most challenging perspectives the public education sector is facing today. So thank you all, and you may exit the meeting now. I expect you to attend the next one too, and thank you